Hello everyone and welcome to GoldenNova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person you come to react to things first. Well, color me surprised. I thought we'd already seen all the support from Terminal World 3. I swear we'd already seen 4 of them. But here we are. Shaddolls are making another appearance in the game with some new cards, and it was not the archetype I was expecting. Shaddolls get a new expansions. It feels like every other year, between starter decks to special box promos, and now here they are setting the stage for another act of the Terminal World story. Shaddolls are an interesting bunch because they kind of defined the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! When people say that Duelist Alliance redefined what it was like to play this game, Shaddolls were a big part of it and have off and on been very playable due to the fact that Shaddoll Fusion is such an incredible fusion spell, changing how we do fusions forever, and the component monsters gave you value for tripping over them. So they're hard to balance for. Either they're just kind of so difficult to actually make good use of that they just kind of fade into the background, or they redefine how you play the theme. Will that happen today? Only one way to find out. And then we'll cover some other cards that came out that I didn't have a chance to talk about, mostly the Final Burst Protocol cards. Let's get started with Tohu Shaddoll Grista. They're putting my boy Diamond through it again. It's not fair. Although I think this is technically not Diamond. This just might be Diamond's remains, but not the same remains as the dual version of him that makes up like the Zephyra core thing. They gotta stop using this. It's a level 7 rock flip monster, 2450 attack, 1950 defense. Wait, maybe this is Diamond. They've got his stats and everything. You can only use the first, or you can only use one of the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. That makes sense. The flips and the send to graveyard effect have always been exclusive to each other. If this card is flipped, you can target a non-rock Shaddoll monster in your graveyard and apply its effect that activates when it's flipped face up. Oh, okay. So it can be any flip effect. Interesting. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can fusion summon a Shaddoll fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing its materials from your hand, field, and or graveyard. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, or the turn you activate this effect, except Shaddoll monsters. And it's not the rest of the turn. This is the turn you activate it. So if you want to use this effect, you have to be on Shaddolls out of your extra deck exclusively. That cuts down on the splash ability, but considering how good the Shaddoll fusion monsters are, I don't know if that's quite a huge loss. That's kind of nutty though, because you can start chaining fusion summons, right? Like you go Shaddoll fusion, send Tohu Shaddoll and something else at the graveyard, and then you get to immediately go, okay, I'm going to Miracle Fusion another Shaddoll fusion monster. That's kind of good. I think this is just a dedicated one of an any Shaddoll list from now on. That's unreal. Next up is Shaddoll Meshahrail, a level 10 Earth Machine. 2800 attack, 1000 defense. This requires 3 material: a Shaddoll, a Dark Monster, and an Earth Monster. Must be fusion summoned. Is unaffected by your opponent's activated spell or trap effects, and by activated effects from your opponent's monsters whose original level or rank is lower than this card's current level. So it just has the towers effect here. Second, once per turn you can pay 800 life. Okay, so this is just it's a Klee card. It's a Klee card. Once per turn you can pay 800 life points to add a Shaddoll or a Void spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Shaddoll monster from your graveyard. Okay, I was about to freak out for a little bit. It must be fusion summoned, so this effect does not loop with itself. You cannot select this as another target for this. You have to get something else. What is going on in this? Because there's... Huh? So Wind is at like this security console. If this is Winda, this is like, this has to, if it's Shaddoll Winda, this is taking place during the events of Age 3.0. And like you can see right behind her, there's like these panels that look like they have the Klee, like they have the gray with the purple lines on there. He's at this command console. This feels interesting. The strings are reaching out back to like that big yellow orb. I think I want to say this goes like deeper into like the terminal itself, and it might be, but I think that yellow orb might be Tierra. Like the strings are reaching out, they're controlling Winda to mess around with the internal systems. This might be the dual terminal system that she's messing with. That's crazy. That's wild. I also need to check one other thing really quickly. Shaddoll Fusion. Does this limit the amount of materials that you can send with it? Fusion summon a Shaddoll Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. So now Shaddoll Fusion can trigger 3 graveyard effects. And it searches you a card. And it replaces itself with a Shaddoll if sent to the graveyard. Oh. Oh. Void Speller Traps. There's not, those are like... There's not like a Shaddoll one for that, right? Those are all like Infernoid support cards. Although, to be fair, if you're playing Infernoids, they don't play... Oh, no, they actually now have a Link monster, so... It's not entirely splashable. I guess Into the Void is funny. That's technically some kind of draw spell. What about trap cards? Eye of the Void, Void Feast. Yeah, it's a bunch of Infernoid support. Maybe we'll get another card. Maybe we'll see another card in this list. But for now, yeah, this card seems pretty nutty to me. Okay, when to check out the translation post in an earlier post. Okay, so it was completely correct on that one. I didn't look that up because it's like, oh, it's blurry. Let's check that out really quickly. Okay, so Reeshaddoll Wendikurhu, level 6 Wind Psychic Fusion monster, 200 attack, 200 defense, requires a Shaddoll monster and a Wind monster. It must first be fusion summoned, so unlike the previous card, we can revive this with stuff. Do we finally have a Wind Shaddoll monster worth playing? First effect. Quick effect, you can change any number of set monsters to face-down defense position. Then you can change other face-up monsters on the field to face-down defense position, up to the number of flip monsters flipped face-up. Any number of set monsters to face up defense position. Then change other face-up monsters on the field to face-down position, up the number of flip monsters. So you can flip any number, but you only get to flip down based on your flip monsters. So that's a great way to trigger those effects at quick speed. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Shaddoll card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Okay. So I think that's worth it. And because we have a Wind monster worth playing, thanks to the latest structure deck, another Wendy, this could actually see some play. In fact, I think it's a very strong enabler for a more control style of Shaddolls. For those of you who weren't around when Duelist Alliance came out, it was largely posited that Shaddoll was going to be a grindy deck that used flip mechanics to get advantage over time, when it turned out that it was a gigantic combo deck in disguise because of how Shaddoll Fusion and later El Shaddoll Fusion would work. This expects you to play the Shaddoll monsters as things that you set to the field and wait for them to unveil their power. Except now you can do it quicker while turning them into Books of Moon. That's pretty nifty. I like it. And then of course it recycles you a new card whenever sent to the graveyard. And it's any Shaddoll card, not a Shaddoll spell or trap card like most of the fusions are. Okay, Void Liber. Oh well, I was looking around for absolutely no reason because we have Void Liberation. Wow. Okay. Normal spell, you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, reveal a Shaddoll card in your hand. To add 2 Shaddoll cards from your deck to your hand of different types from the revealed card and each other, then discard a card. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard to add an Infernoid monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So it is still Infernoid support in some way. But in general, we are playing Void Liberation, revealing a second card. So we have 2 cards. We take 2 more cards and add them to our hand, and then we pitch one of them. So it does go even, because we're getting rid of the Void Liberation and any discard for putting 2 cards into our hand. So if you reveal a monster, you have to get a spell or a spell and a trap card. If you get a spell, or reveal a spell, it has to be a monster or a trap that you search. And thankfully, all of them are just really good. You're going to generally want to send the monster, because that will trigger their sent to graveyard by an effect. But I think Reeshaddoll Reincarnation has a really good... In fact, it has a really good graveyard effect, where you can change positions on a monster at quick speed, kind of like the new Fusion does. And the spell card is any Shaddoll Fusion spell ever printed. So, wow. Yeah, these are some bonkers editions. And there's still only 4 of them. I think that they're supposed to get 5 each, so we're already... Oh my god. Oh my god. This is... Get ready to yell about this card right here. Let me just show you. Let me show you this really quickly. This card... This card... You're going to be really annoyed with this one in a few months. Holy cow. That rules. This card rules. I love it. Look, it's no branded, but I guess I'll learn to live with it. Shaddolls were a great love of mine for a while. I can live with it. I can live with them locking themselves into wait, this is the only lock so far though. Wait a sec. What if we don't use that effect? What if we already have plenty of other fusion effects? Something to think about. Something to ponder. But that's all I've got to say about Shaddolls. Let's go ahead and check out the next Terminal World Tellarknight card. Oh, and there's a front-facing thing on here already. Okay, so Shaddoll was the last one. It's X-Sabers, Dragoonardies, Shaddolls, Tellarknights. I know now. I know. Okay, so spoilers. This was one that I did read ahead of time. I spoiled it. There was Santi was saying that I was asking how Gaga Gio was involved, and it's like I can't not figure out what's going on here. And for a while, I was wondering what in the heck was going on in the background of the art, because I didn't recognize that figure in the back. But it now seems very clear that it is the new Tohu Shaddoll Grista that these are fighting against. This is like our new Tellarknight Xyz monster, and that's like Valkyrius, Necros Valkyrius. That staff is very distinct. I'm kind of disappointed that we're not seeing interactions with things like the Fabled, though, because they seem like they're going to be pretty prominent pretty quickly, considering they're utilizing the Illswarm virus again. But you know, I have my I have my complaints about Yu-Gi-Oh! Story at the best of times. Let's take a look at Stellarnova Bonds, a normal spell card. You can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn, and you activate one of the following effects, but you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Xyz monsters. The first effect has you discarding a card, and if you do, you special summon a Tellarknight or Constellar monster from your deck with a different type than the monsters that you control. So if you already control one of the Warrior Tellers, you can't summon any of the other Warrior Tellers, which is unfortunate, but they have been making different types. They've put like fairies and stuff, and they've, you know, between warriors and fairies, those are both pretty good. And there's a ton of different types among Constellars, so you should have something. Or lacking that, second effect, target face-up monsters your opponent can, on your opponent's field up to the number of Tellarknight or Constellar monsters that you control, and negate those monsters' effects until the end of the turn. Sadly, or I guess it's a normal spell card, so it wouldn't be able to hit things like normal spell and trap cards anyway while they're on the chain. But this is kind of like a little miniature Forbidden Chalice should you have a board already set up. As long as you got them, your opponent has, like, if you have 2 or 3 Tellarknights and your opponent has 2 problem monsters, boom, now you can shut them off and continue with your plays. This is a nice card to have. It can either be a starter card, because It doesn't check anything about having to control a card. You just have the Nova Bonds and the discard, and you get any Teller or Constellar if you have an empty board. And all of those that are worth playing or worth starting with give you a bit of advantage to work with. So you'll be able to make up for that minus pretty easily and maybe set up your graveyard with stuff. And then if you don't need the advantage and you need to break a board, it has a option for that too. So just a stellar card. Okay, last up of the Burst Protocol. The remaining cards for the series. The set is done being revealed. And I've been looking forward to talking about these ones because Penguin is in the art. And more Penguin means that that deck gets another shot to see if it has what it takes to stand up with the biggins. Let's take a look at Dark Staring at the Blue Sky. Hey, glad to see that they finally joined Blue Sky. It took them long enough. Level 10 Dark Reptile Effect Monster, 3000 attack, 2700 defense. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect. If any number of monsters are special summoned from the deck and or extra deck by an opponent's activated monster effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it. It doesn't say it banishes itself, so this is going to be a repeatable threat. Second, when a monster effect is activated that includes special summoning any number of monsters as a quick effect, you can banish a card from your hand or field to negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. Okay. You can't exactly pull the banish from a free zone like the graveyard, but I think it's worthwhile to be able to stop a negation effect. It's only a monster effect though, so spell or trap cards won't work, and inherent summons are not included in here. Third, during the end phase of this card is currently banished and was banished this turn, you can return one of your other banished monsters to the graveyard. Okay. That last effect seems a little out of place because I was just talking about how it wouldn't banish itself, which I feel like would kind of, because there's a lot of cards that summon themselves but banish them when they leave the field, so it feels like it would tie in with this one, but that's not necessarily the case. What deck does this go in? What theme does this work with? The overall thing, of course, is that we just ignore this altogether and we focus on the fact that we can just keep summoning this out and negating summons. I think maybe if these are played in multiples, like if you banished one Dark Staring at the Blue Sky, you can like, oh, no, they're supposed to loop each other. Because you can banish a card on the field, so if this banishes itself, you can turn another card, and if that card is a Dark Staring at the Blue Sky, then that card can bring itself back. So they're supposed to you're supposed to have two copies, and you loop them together, and it pays for itself. Okay. That's going to be an interesting thing to have, especially Reptile decks, since they love sending their cards to the graveyard. They have tons of cards for it. And it turns out that summoning cards from the deck and or extra deck is pretty good. Though, notably, I am rereading this. It is only if they are summoned by an opponent's activated monster effect. So, once again, if a spell or trap card tries to bring them out, it's not going to work. And it's not any time a monster will be summoned from the extra deck. So if they Synchro or Xyz summon, this is not going to trigger. It's only really fusion summons. I guess also Synchro, Xyz, and Link is also another one that doesn't trigger here. So it's not universally applicable. But it still seems pretty good. Not super good, but pretty good. Okay, first penguin. The first one! It took us a long time, but we can finally start making penguins because now we have the first one. Level 1 Water Winged Beast, 100 attack and defense. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, if you control no face-up monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it is treated as a tuner. Okay. Second, you can discard one card and reveal a Water Synchro monster in your extra deck. Add a water monster with the same type as the revealed monster, but one level lower, from your deck to your hand. Then you can change this card to face-down defense position. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except water monsters. Okay, so this is just meant to work with Penguin Squire, right? It's literally supposed to work with that. I gotta do the math here. Let me just pull up the penguins. Penguin. Come on. What penguins? And all I got was Penguin's Royal Garden, which, to be fair, I had forgotten about. And it's a pretty solid card in and of itself. Okay, Penguin Brave is a level 6 water synchro monster. So you can reveal that. And that gets you the level 5 Penguin Squire. Yeah, no, it works out perfectly like this. You special summon this card, it's treated as a tuner, but then you discard a card, reveal the level 6 Penguin Synchro, get the level 5 Penguin Squire. If this card gets flipped face down, oh no, it's not a tuner anymore, and you can't use it to synchro summon anything. Don't worry, summon Penguin Squire out of your hand because a monster is set on your field. Then you can reduce the level by 1 or 2, but you don't really want, unless you are looking for a different level. You don't have to, because now you have a level 5 tuner and a level 1 monster. Bing, bang, boom. They're now Penguin Braves, so you have your big Penguin Synchro monster. So this is a 1 card plus a discard, enable that. Pretty slick, in my opinion. And I'm sure there's a ton of other things you can do with the fact that it searches out water monsters based on a synchro monster's level. But other than that, I think this is a pretty solid Penguin support card. Not crazy, but you'll be able to play more games more often. And ain't that just the way we like our Yu-Gi-Oh! Ways that you can play. Forbidden Ritual Art. Oh no. Oh man, that that engine's looking a little messed up. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. It is a normal trap card. First effect, Ritual. Summon a ritual monster from your graveyard by banishing other monsters from your graveyard whose total level is exactly equal its level, but destroy it during the end phase. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Once this turn, when you ritual summon with a card effect that requires monsters, you can also banish ritual monsters from your grave as monsters used for the ritual summon. Okay. So, that's kind of cool. So you have a ritual trap card. Well, not ritual trap card, a normal trap card that ritual summons. That can ritual summon any ritual monster from the graveyard, and it uses material from the graveyard. It has to be exact, and it doesn't stick around past the turn unless that ritual monster, you can find a way to like bounce it off the field and bring it back, or give it protection from effect destruction. And then while it's in the graveyard, you can make it so any of your other ritual effects can use monsters in the graveyard, but only ritual monsters themselves. You can't utilize like regular monsters. This is kind of funky. I will say, I kind of like it. It's also got Gishiki, but not Gishki. The lion there is messing it up. Very funny card. I can't wait to see if there is a home for this in particular strategies. Maybe we see this being used. I wanted to say Vendread at first, but most Vendread ritual spells already let you banish material from the graveyard, so maybe not Vendread, but I don't know. There's got to be something. Let's keep an eye out for this one. I'm sure we can bust a certain deck with this. Alright, Tip of the Tongue Reduction. It's... I remember this goofball from Ye Olden Legend of Blue Eyes. What's his name? Tongyo? Tongyo. Normal trap card. When your opponent activates a card or effect by declaring exactly one card name, negate that effect, then you can add one card with that name from your deck. If this set card and its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you target face what monster they control loses 500. Wait a sec. So we play. So what's the play pattern here? We go, I activate Effect Veiler in response to your monster's effect so that I can negate it. And your opponent's like, I think not. I activate Crossout Designator, naming Effect Veiler. What do you do now? Well, I activate Tip of the Tongue Reduction to negate it, and add another copy of Effect Veiler to my hand. There's no way. There's no way this... I'm gonna have to just make a stream all about things that Tip of the Tongue Reduction can be used with, That's so funny. And then it's like, oh, if they destroy it, ooh, you lose 500 attack on one monster. Ooh, ooh. Stupid. Stupid. Alright, Shiji Goon Shugo, normal trap card, has 4 different effects. For a normal trap card... Special summon a level 1 rank 1 monster from either graveyard, and if you equip this card... Okay, so it's an equip trap card. Okay. So we get to bring back our level 1 monsters, or our rank 1s, but it's probably level 1s. That's not bad. Once per turn, during the end phase, increase the equipped monster's level or rank by 1. 3. Apply these effects based on the equipped monster's level or rank. If it's 3 or more, it gains attack equal to its original attack. If it's 5 or more, it's unaffected by your opponent's activated effect. 4. Once per turn during your standby phase, if the equipped monster's level or rank is 7 or higher, send all cards on the field to the graveyard. This card is a reference to Shiji Goon Festival, but means literally grave misculation safeguard. It gains effects at levels 3, 5, and 7 because Shiji, Go, and San. Very fine. Huh? Okay, this is another goofy card. This one is not as funny as Tip of the Tongue Reduction because this one actually does have like a sequence that it plays through. Like you summon the level 1, it's 1. You go to your end phase, it's 2. At your opponent's end phase, it's now 3, so it like doubles his attack. But it's like a level or rank 1 monster. It can't have a good. How's it sticking around that long? I don't know. If you get to this point, then you know. Have fun with that, I suppose. Maybe it's just like, maybe there's a level 1 deck that needed another revival tool, and this can be it for them. Sure, I don't know. Okay, Burst Protocol cards. Okay, silly as hell, interesting. Hell yeah, penguins. And looking forward to seeing if Dark Staring at the Blue Sky is capable of anything. I feel like it's just a little too restricted, but there are a ton of monster effects that love summoning things. It's kind of what most of the game is built on, so I could see this being good, especially because they gave it a really good stat line. Holy cow. Stellarnova Bonds, very solid, at least maybe even a 3 of, because it just gets you off to the races. And then the Shaddoll cards are wow. Wowie zowie. Wow. Anyway, thank you all for watching. What are your thoughts on these cards? Am I highly overestimating what the Shaddoll arsenal now has in store? Or do you have any combos that show off that they are in fact going to dominate the world once again when they get released from Terminal World 3? What about your thoughts on the other cards that were revealed today? Are you looking forward to sleeving up some penguins and showing everyone that they can't stand up to the Penguin Braves? Let me know down below, and as always, until the next time Konami drops some juicy spoilers, I'll see all of you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout while helping out the channel. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media and the Critic of Innocence, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Charlie Mercury, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Green Knight, Great Big Pillock, Groog, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Marion James E. Picata, Meme King, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Neon Yaminair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Bat Boos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sonic 21 Blast, That One Dumbass, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders Ally Vatnia, Animasta, Anthrak, A Random Pup, Blade Runner 1034, Blaze Rider, Blitzwolf, Chaz Ghost, Christopher Fuss, again, Chris B, Cool Trainer Dark, Dr. Entity, R.I.P., Eki Bullock, Edwin Perez, Eva Padilla, Herbal D, Inblink, J.A. Flair, Julian Marquez, Kale the Dragon, Lobomaru02, Manga Pages, Mr. Machina, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nicholas Murphy, Not Al Gore, Obsidian, Pombo, Rhyme Kairos, Rogue Wolf, Shizuka Nijimura, Simic Toadstool, Stephen Huntsman, The Legendary Raven, The Queen of Time, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Zaldreka and Zentha, as well as all the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.